Good evening and welcome to the Mancunian Way Thursday night chat. No, I am not on my own. Well, I am currently on my own, but I won't be for much longer. Rich will be joining us and hopefully Vates will be joining us as well. And we have got a cracker of a show this Thursday evening. And I hope you are all well because Manchester City are back in action in just under 48 hours time. The boys in blue will be back in action, and tonight we are going to talk all about that game as well as a few other little tidbits as well. Tonight we're going to be talking all about, like I said, the Girona game. We're going to start with a little bit of Haaland news as well, and the Croatian centre back, we're going to talk about as well. And we're going to ask about Julian Alvarez. Plus, we're going to end with questions from the comments section. If any of you lovely people have got any questions you want to ask, so just let us know in the comments and we will answer your questions. I don't know what is going on with the nurse. I'm going to bring Rich in because I'm just going to hang on. Here we go.
Good morning.
Go on, explain it to me because I haven't got a clue.
The nurses striking with them.
Oh, right. Okay. All right.
Right.
Yeah, I'm totally with you, mate.
I didn't have time to fit on the postal workers and, the police.
Oh, don't even mention about the postal workers at the minute. Nightmare at the moment. Hey, and the striking 3 days next week, and then the 23rd, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, 24th. No worry, FIFA. Dale, how are you, mate? Hope you are well. Super City has joined us. Hello. FIFA, who said he's even coming back? We don't know. Don't assume, FIFA. Sean, hello, mate. Listen, when people are on the show, they will just appear like magic. That's what me and Rich and Ozzy are. We are magicians. Sean Fogarty, how are you, mate? Alec Johnson, how are you? Hope you are good. And I hope work isn't getting you too down. So, Rich, how are you? How's the world dealing you?
No, I'm good. I'm pretty tired.
All these late nights at concerts.
It's late. Everything at this time of year. Kids have concerts every blooming night. Work's packing everything in because everyone's going on holiday, or a lot of people going on holiday after today. So, and then trying to fit in a bit of World Cup football and everything else in the mid-set. So, kind of running on fumes.
Well, it is. Yeah, it is a little bit all over the shop at the moment. Anyway, so Rich, we're going to kick it off. I want to just talk about, now obviously there's some news come out. I'm just going to start with a couple of little tidbits before we get into the main meat of the bone. Come out today from sources over in Spain, yesterday as well, that Erling Haaland, Real Madrid, have no interest anymore. They've totally backed away now. Obviously, they've just agreed this record deal for a Brazilian wonder kid.
Yeah.
What's his name? Is he African, Nigerian? Correct me if I'm wrong on that. I can't even remember the guy's name. Begins with E. I know that. But it's like 35 million down, 25 in add-ons, plus so much. For an 18-year-old. And apparently that has now backed them completely out of the Erling Haaland race. They have no interest going forward. Endrick, that's it. Thank you very much, Christian. They have no interest anymore, which basically means either they've been told Erling Haaland is one happy bunny at Manchester City and we're going to renegotiate terms very, very soon, or Real Madrid just can't afford him. But either way, good news for them. Good news for us.
And I think, I think we're getting to that place where in the past, Real Madrid, Barca, few of those clubs have been able to throw around the money. But the reality is now that, to move a player from the best league in Europe to a league that's not quite as strong, you have to pay more money than the teams in the best league are prepared to pay. Yeah. And, I think you then get into a place with Haaland, the same what they were with Mbappe, where they're going to be looking for $1 million a week. And then there's transfer fees on top of that. So you're suddenly talking about, the ridiculousness is we're getting into a world where you could have that first £1 billion deal. I think certainly now you're getting in the territory with Mbappe of £500 million deals. And I think, we're heading in that direction. I think either you're from the Premier League and you're one of the top clubs in the Premier League who do have financial power that the other countries don't have, or you're going to have a sovereign owner or incredibly wealthy owner who's prepared to invest. And I think what you're seeing now and what's happened at Bournemouth in the last few days probably shows this, is you've got American billionaires coming in and buying Bournemouth. And, if you looked at the level of support at the games, the league positions over the last 25 years, etc., then you'd say Bournemouth are probably one of the least attractive teams in the Premier League to really make big money out of. And yet they're attracting billionaires to come in and buy them.
Another American owner in the door.
Yeah. Another, I think he owns the Las Vegas ice hockey team, doesn't he? So it's another American sports owner.
It just tells me I think the Super League's just going to get closer and closer from top.
Well, will it, or will the Premier League be the Super League? Is the Premier League going to be the equivalent of the Super League? Are we actually going to, are we going to see football, the actual real problem being a split between the UK and Europe? With, is the Premier League going to be richer than the Champions League? And, the more the top players come to the Premier League, the more that happens, the more the money comes there, the more there's a danger. So I think there's going to be some, not just the Super League versus UEFA. I think there's going to be almost the Super League, UEFA, and the Premier League as three different parties fighting over European football.
That's a good point. By the way, just before we move on, I did forget to mention, big happy 80th to Buzzer for yesterday. Manchester City legend. Yeah, we do have them. Mike Somerville celebrated his 80th birthday. So happy birthday, or belated birthday to Buzzer. And I didn't get to see Buzzer. I'm not sure. I know you probably did, Rich, in his heyday. I mean, I saw his son in his pump.
I saw his son in his pump. I didn't see.
Well, sorry,
I've only seen
his son in his pump at the press club as well. Never mind a football pitch.
The only thing I've seen Buzzer doing live is drinking a beer.
And losing a lot of bet. Anyway, no, we won't go down that road because, like I said, my brother used to go out drinking with Nicky Somerville. I could tell you some stories. Trust me now.
I was talking about his dad.
Well, yeah. Well, and he didn't go drinking with his dad. He went drinking with his son.
Yeah.
I was swimming down at the press club with a certain football agent called Mr. McGarvey. But anyway, yes. So, I mean, for me, Rich, Erling Haaland, you know what? You think about it. This season, they have had the most record shirt sales they've ever had with this lad. Record shirt sales. They have had this foot, and I didn't mention this because I wanted to save it specifically for tonight. I know we did mention the extension on Tuesday, and thank you everyone for joining us for that one. They've had this stadium extension in the works for 10 years. They've had planning permission for 10 years on this paper to go to 60,000. And now a world superstar comes in the door and shirts start flying off the shelves. Right, we're going for it now. That just tells me Erling Haaland's going nowhere. And I'll be honest with you, I said this a few weeks ago. I genuinely believe they'll renegotiate a contract. If not this summer, the summer after, and either push that release clause back 5 years, 2 years, whatever they can get, or up his wages and get rid of that release clause.
Yeah, I think they'll clearly be trying to do that because that suits the club, and you know, I look at it and everyone's talking like what's that said. I mean, he wants to win stuff. He's been very clear above anything. He wants to win stuff, and he hasn't. It's not he hasn't won stuff prior. He hasn't won 10 titles or anything. So he wants to win stuff, and he's going to get his. Hopefully, this season, going to get his first taste of really winning things. And it's not like he's going to want to win one, maybe 2 Premier Leagues and then go. He'll want to win a few things. He'll want to be at the club where he thinks he's got the best chance of winning the Champions League and winning other things. So, at the moment, as long as City are one of the favourites in the Champions League and we're the favourites for the Premier League, which is the biggest league in Europe, there's no real reason for him to go. And it's not like he has, a cultural affinity with he wants to be in the Mediterranean, in the sunshine or anything else. I mean, he was born in Leeds. He's come back to the north of England a lot. He's lived in Norway where, let's be honest, Norway actually makes Manchester look pretty dry. In terms of, if you're going to go somewhere that rains more than Manchester, you go to Norway, especially on the coast there. So, for me, even if he wants to go off and win things at other teams, I've always thought it would be, 4-5 years, and then he'd think about going, not 1 or 2. He wants to go and win. He'll want to get, up there in the Premier League goals. He'll want 3 or 4 Premier League titles. He'll want to have a few shots at the Champions League and more with City. He'll want to win the FA Cup. He'll want to win the League Cup. So I think we panic a bit too much with the, he's going to go in 18 months. But, will he stay here for 15 years? I don't know. He might decide when he's 28 and he's got 5 Premier League titles and 200 Premier League goals that he wants to go.
Been down this road before. We went down it with Company. We went down it with David Silva. We went down it with Aguero.
Yeah.
We've gone down it with Kevin De Bruyne. Every single one of them, we were a stepping stone to Barcelona.
Yeah. I mean, actually, to be fair, Kev's always been kind of. I don't think there has been that much about him, but Kun Aguero, we had that every summer. But
and Silva,
never really from him. Never really from him. So, for me, I think we should just enjoy Haaland. We should try and, give him, a new contract and get a bit more control of it. But in all honesty, I think we should enjoy it. And I think we shouldn't worry when Spanish papers try to sell papers or whatever by saying Haaland's going to move on. And what his dad said, he said absolutely nothing. He said, he's really happy, he could stay 15 years at City, but then he does want to win stuff in other countries. So his dad's just saying absolutely nothing, selling a few newspapers, giving Fjortoft a few things to talk about on, ESPN, and that's about it.
He said everything that Aguero's agent said. He said everything David Silva's, Vincent Kompany. Vincent Kompany was linked with Barcelona year after year after year after year. And it was all the same stuff.
But as long as the players...
If he hadn't had a set of balls, should be my uncle. That's where we're at here, Rich.
But that's the truth of any of us in any job. If you're enjoying your job and you're being paid well and your prospects are good, you're not often going to, you're not often going to leave. You leave because you're not happy with how you're playing. You're not happy with what you're being paid. You're not happy with this. And at the moment, the Premier League and City offer the best manager, probably the best teammates, certainly a very good culture, probably pay him more than he can get anywhere else. He's playing in the biggest league. Yep. So you look at that and you say, well, for the moment, there really is no other place he'd be better off being.
Cheers, FIFA. Have a good day at college, mate. Let's move on to the next little thing because we had a comment earlier on for Pardo Oaks. Good evening, mate. Any movements in January? The only movement we did, I did touch on this on Tuesday, is on Croatian defender. Now, I will not butcher his name. I'll try my very best. Is Josko Gvardiol. Well, Gvardiol. Now, this has all come from abroad. Not a lot of Manchester City reporters or even English reporters have actually come out with this. But it's picked up again today. 110 million euros is roughly the sort of figure they're talking. Now, the rumours are this will be a deal that will get completed in 2 or 3 weeks' time, and we will loan back to Leipzig for the rest of the season. Straight away, Rich, is your bullshit meter up, or is this something you actually could see Manchester City doing? And I will just say on this, if you think yes, this is, would that not indicate a massive U-turn in the Manchester City transfer policy?
It doesn't seem logical to me. Yeah, there's a lot of factors. One, I cannot see how a club can buy a player and loan it back to someone they're about to play in the last 16 of the Champions League. That sounds to me that would be causing all sorts of issues. And, if I look at our team at the moment, unless he was being signed as a fullback, I really wouldn't see the logic. And if you ask me, I think our player of the year last year was Laporte. If we look at players who probably surprised on the upside in the World Cup, you'd probably say Ake was one of the ones who performed probably better than we thought. So if you ask me, signing a left-sided centre-back seems about as illogical as any signing, because centre-back is probably our strongest position with 5 first-choice, top-quality international centre-backs. But I do think that left-back is probably our biggest problem position. So for me, and I haven't seen enough of him to comment, if he was being signed as a left-back, and we think that he is a player he could become, because he's obviously incredibly highly rated.
Tell Rich was watching on Tuesday. Rich watched me on Tuesday. He's come out with the exact same thing.
But that's my thing. But for me at City at the moment, I'd be looking at a fullback, and then I'd be looking at how we address Gundogan and De Bruyne and Bernardo.
Is he the fullback, though, Rich?
I don't know, and that's what I'm saying is if they think he could be a top quality world class fullback who can come in and be the defensive fullback when Walker, is getting older, then there may be some logic to it. If he's being signed as a centre back, then that to me would be stupid, because that then means you're going to have to sell, Laporte or Ake cheap, which would seem daft. And so to me, it all depends on the player, and I just don't know enough. So I don't know if people in the comments have watched a lot more of him than I have, but
he's been outstanding at this World Cup. Yes, I know Messi took the piss in the semi, but Messi takes the piss out of most people. So let's be honest here.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to throw what Messi did to him as a barometer of how good he is. During this World Cup, he's been outstanding. Now, my thing behind this is, who could potentially leave? Then gives me a bigger question. Who is going to buy who we have? If you look at all of our centre-backs, from Ake to Laporte to Akanji, Diaz, I'm not saying for sale. Diaz, I'm not putting in the sale.
Well, Diaz Pep's very clear on left and right-sided centre-backs. So in a sense, I think at the moment, you had Diaz and Stones. Stones is obviously a concern to Pep with his injuries. So you've kind of got Diaz and then Akanji or Stones. And Stones increasingly, I think, almost going up into midfield or going right back. So
who buys them though, Rich? Because you're looking at minimum. I'm going to bring Vegas back. I'm going to bring him in a minute. You're looking at any of our centre backs, Rich, a minimum of 50 million quid.
Yeah, no, you look at someone like no one does. You're looking at Laporte, and the only clubs who could
even
Hey,
would
thanks
be
for
a
having me,
couple of
guys.
Premier League clubs where we wouldn't sell him, and then probably Real Madrid. And Real Madrid, if they don't need a left-sided centre-back at the time, then they're not a market.
No, and this I just, it doesn't make sense unless somebody has kicked up a fuss behind the scenes.
Yeah, but it could just be paper talk. It could.
No, it could. Now, personally, it could be his agent who's turned around and thought, you know what, I need to get this guy a move, and his agent, if I throw City in the hat. But what's happening is there's two things in this that worry me, and everyone in the comments will realise when I say this.
I'll just be 1 second. I'm just getting my dog in.
Yeah, that's fine. And Veta, I'm not sure you know this as well. There has been some talk about this guy in the last 2 or 3 days, and it's to a point they've even said Pep Guardiola has made personal phone calls. What's the one thing City do if it is BS, total BS?
Well, if it is BS, there's a comment put out there to kind of put the story to rest, and where there's smoke, there's fire. So
when City were linked with Neymar for 3 or 4 days, City came out and went, no interest in Neymar. Great player, no interest. This story's been out for 2 or 3 days now, and they've even quoted Pep, or said to not quoted him, but said Pep's made phone calls. The club by now would have come out and gone, nah, this is a load of rubbish. This is just good player, but garbage.
Yeah.
They haven't.
And Martin, you could be getting to the place where City are now, in such a place with the quality of the team and everything else that, if we think that someone 20, 21-year-old is going to be the best player in the world in their position, regardless of whether we've got a need, we're interested. But, so that's possible. Knowing Pep, Pep could be thinking, right, I want to move, one of those centre-backs that I'm going to turn into a fullback or a midfielder. There could be someone who wants to go. I mean, or we could think that he could be a left-back. He could be...
Part of what Givaldio plays left-back for Leipzig.
Yeah, because we need, and I've said above any other player, we need to have Kyle Walker's replacement. And I don't mean at right back, I mean as a defensive fullback. Because the way Pep likes to play is with one world-class defensive fullback and one fullback who can't defend.
I'm loving Andrew's wish list. A fullback, Jude and Leao would be a 10 out of 10 summer. It'd be a bleeding expensive summer. I'm telling you.
I have to say, I agree with the fullback and I agree with Jude. I think Leao would be an absolute disaster for us because we're about to talk about a problem we've probably got. And, unless we were moving on a very highly paid world-class forward player, signing Leao would be worse, would be bad for the club because I think we've got a problem we're going to talk about and, potential problem, and we need to be careful. So, I think if we are really interested in, I don't even know how you pronounce, in Croatian, if we're really interested in him, to me, that says that we want him playing left back and Cancelo playing right back, and we think that Walker is going to be limited in football.
The only thing that intrigues me, Veta, is this: get him in January, load him back to Leipzig. That tells me they know there's a list for this guy. Chelsea have been very open wanting him. Very open. So City might just think this is, in a way, this could be the sweetener in the deal to Leipzig to get this over the line, if it is true. To say, tell you what, we'll pay the money in installments and you keep him for the rest of the season. But you let us have first dibs.
He's moving. He's at a club where their model is signing middle-class youngsters and selling him. So he's going somewhere. And for me, you could possibly, realistically buying PSG or Real Madrid could afford him if they really, really wanted to. But they, in the main, it's likely he's going to a Premier League club. And Chelsea would be going as a centre-back, no question. They don't, they've got, 2 or 3 left-backs, but they need a centre-back. So it may come down to, footballing things. Does he want to play full-back and have a more, a Guardiola full-back's an interesting role, or does he want to play centre-back and become a mainstay of a centre-back partnership?
Well, mate, do you think City are being used here, or do you think there is some method behind this?
See, that's my concern every time I see something that pops up on the timeline, or I see us tied to certain players. Is, are we being leveraged by the agent to increase the demand on said player, or the price tag on said player? Is it true that we're maybe looking to do business early to then alleviate a huge pursuit from many clubs? I'm often trying to figure that out. But the point that you made that really stands out is it's not necessarily to what you said with regards to Walker. It's not maybe finding the next very solid defensive fullback that needs to be a right back. It could be, let's secure that for the left-hand side and give the freedom. Yeah, so I like that point. I didn't really look at it that way. But I think in terms of a quality signing, and what we don't like to do is pay big or compete. If the player is going to be turning their heads to look at many other clubs and they're looking for the biggest payout, then we look the other way. So if that's not the case with him, then it's good early business.
Sorry, I'm sorry to Yusuf's put Chelsea aren't getting Champions League football. Why would he go there? Can someone throw the irony back at Yusuf for what the comment is about saying at the moment? So why would Jude go to Liverpool because they ain't getting Champions League football, Yusuf?
I think Yusuf believes they are. I think he believes they're going to be top 4.
That's what we'll find out. But I think what you got to say, Martin, is it's not just, with deals like this, City might be City, if let's say City aren't really after him, it's in City's interest to push his price up. So City would much rather Chelsea spend 120 million on him than 80 million on him. And that would possibly put Chelsea out of other deals. So when you see these deals, and it's all in the press, the agents are doing it because they want to push up the price. Clubs are doing it sometimes because they want to sign them and unsettle the player. Sometimes because they want someone else to pay twice as much money. So if City really are after, let's say City are really after, Bellingham, then, it's in our interest to try and get everyone else spending their money on other players other than him. If City are really interested. So City will do that, and people will do that on behalf of City. And, people doing it on behalf of Red Bull, because Red Bull's only objective is going to be, they probably don't want to sell to Bayern. But apart from that, their only objective is getting the biggest possible price for him. And so that means every big club in Europe being in for him. So there's going to be so much murky world there. I just go back to the original point. If he's being signed as a fullback and we think that's what he can do, then it seems very, very logical because we need that fullback. If he's not, then to me, I'd rather we'd be looking elsewhere at other positions and other players.
Yeah, it's so tricky because like when we think about it with regards to like maybe espionage or intelligence, right? There's also counterintelligence where there's going to be fake stories out there that's just going to distract us or distract others. And I love the point about, we're not interested, but let's the price continue to increase because players tied to us while we're pursuing. I don't think that's the case, but
City do slam down stories that don't get. If they have no interest in a player, look at all the Haaland stuff. They never once come out and went, no. They left it. They let it run. With the Sterling rumours, let it run. When things are happening, City stay quiet. When sometimes I go back to the Neymar, everyone was Neymar's to City, wait and see, and we all went garbage. City won't do it. And City
But
wrote
why?
out a big statement and went, nah, not happening.
But you've got to ask yourself why. City don't come out and deny something if it's in their interest not to deny it, even if it's true or not. With Neymar,
I think you play football manager here, Rich.
No.
Don't do that.
There's reasons to deny Neymar that don't exist with, say, Gvardiol. With Neymar, him coming and the talk about those high wages, that's going to be going directly and probably against what they've said to Haaland. They've said to Haaland, you're going to be our joint top paid player. We're doing this for you. We're doing that for you. And then the next thing in the papers, you've got Neymar coming in 800,000 a week. So there's a lot of reasons why City, may not want to start a thing with PSG, because PSG are the one club, in European football who very clearly have got the money and the chops to, go against us. So I'd imagine it's in City's interest not to have PSG, pushing on our players and us pushing on their players. If we go after Neymar, are they going to say we want Bernardo in exchange? So there's reasons to deny something other than it just being the truth. And I think sometimes if it's in our interest, rumours are out there, we'll let them stay out there, whether we're interested or not. But I think Neymar has a lot of reasons. And I think Neymar actually had a lot of fans not happy about it either. So there's a PR.
I do think we'll see quickly, because if this is a deal for January, we're at 2 or 3 weeks away. So we will know within 2 or 3 weeks whether this is, because a deal of 110 million euros cannot be kept quiet. You just can't keep that one quiet. That goes out.
Yeah, and to me, I find it very unlikely we do 2 deals like that. So, it says to me,
you are so on this Jude road, aren't you?
I think we need a player like Jude Bellingham more than we need.
You won't get Jude in January. I mean, saying that Gvardiol isn't for January. Yeah. He's for the summer. They're just going to buy him in January. If it's true, it's to buy him in January and load him out. Anyway.
I wouldn't be surprised if when Jude goes, that the same didn't happen with him. I mean, that can happen.
Well, the other thing is today, apparently Jude Bellingham and Saka, according to Graham Bailey, who was a Northern correspondent, have said Jude and Saka are high on the wanted list, but City know they are not top of the list when it comes to Jude. But because you had David Ornstein saying City know they're not top, and then Graham Bailey went, but they have massive pull with having Pep, Sarr, and Haaland, his best mate, being there.
Yeah, and I think it's ultimately I think Haaland's actually set a bit of a trend, which we're gonna see, and that is players, because it sounds like Bellingham's doing the same as Haaland did. They're almost rating all the clubs on whether they want to live there, what their position's going to be, what the manager's like, what the teammates are like, and it is quite interesting. I mean, the one thing I will say about Bellingham that I wouldn't say is true of Gvardiol, or I can't even say it, but is I think Bellingham I think really, really hard about the way a team plays football and where midfielders really flourish, because he's got potential. I mean, as someone said the other day, was it Yaya Toure? You need to be careful because Dele Alli was Jude Bellingham 6-7 years ago. So there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee he's going to become the best, but he needs to go to a team that where he has world-class midfielders around him, where the team plays through the midfield and the midfield's the focus, and where he's got a manager who understands midfield.
So you don't go to Liverpool then?
Well, I would think that a midfielder going to Liverpool is
a waste of time.
Their career is probably not a great idea.
It'll shorten their career.
The only thing a midfielder gets at Liverpool is neck ache.
Yeah,
the mileage that would be asked of that player, they're shortening their career.
This is all a Liverpool midfielder does. Look up, ball, back, front, back. They might as well play tennis because they get bloody neck-ache. They don't play the ball through midfield.
Yeah. I think there's a point to that, but I also do think that, you know, I think there's a real chance that, you know, you could get takeover at United, takeover at Liverpool, and that there could be.
Oh, he's going down the Amazon.
Yeah.
Amazon Prime. I'm cancelling it. If they take over United,
Right,
I'm cancelling my Amazon Prime subscription.
I'm not worried about. Yeah, it's not that bad, because I think if you get taken over by a business, you get run like a business. But you know that there is the chance of very, very wealthy people buying Liverpool or United at the moment, and Chelsea are already spending. So you could see a huge amount of football inflation and talent coming into the Premier League if that happens, and that makes it harder for us. And maybe that is an argument for why we might act in January, because it doesn't look like Liverpool or United will have been taken over by then. So maybe signing a player in January for next summer is getting it done before there's people willing to spend 150 million on that player.
Yeah. I love this. Eustace put, we're not stoked, relax yourselves. Nick Lubbins put, look at Thiago to Liverpool, came out and said, Klopp taught me how to run. He's got a point. Thiago and Cantona. Yeah, here's how you run. Cheers, mate. I kind of learned that.
Yeah. Let's be quite honest. In the last few years, we've been battling Liverpool for the league, and you know, defensively, I'd say we've been fairly similar on a par. You know, I think we've both got the best two sets of fullbacks in the league. I think we've both had strong centre backs. I think we've both got goalkeepers that are, you know, I think Ederson probably slightly better offensively, but maybe Alisson slightly better defensively. Up front, we've both had, you know, arguably the two best front lines, and you could argue Liverpool have been stronger. But what has won us the league every year over Liverpool is that our midfield has been a level above theirs. Even the season where they won the league, we didn't. Our midfield's been a level above theirs. So that to me says that either Liverpool know that and they want to change the way they play a bit to have a midfield up there with ours, and they're going to try and do that, or they're just going to spend money on a midfield, not change the way they play, and, you know, ruin a lad's career.
I mean, Jack Lee says that Liverpool midfield has 3 wins over us. No, Liverpool do. The midfield don't, Jack. We shouldn't be bantering them. Jack, all I'll say is go back and look at the goal he scored. It was from back to front.
Back to front.
Might as well put the midfield out.
Defensive error and their quality attack. And no one said that they don't have
with an handball as well. With an handball.
Yeah. And a referee disallowing a perfectly good goal for us as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you can banter Liverpool.
Oh, he's Mr. Positive. Yeah. Mr. Positive's here, Rich.
Yeah. Yeah, well, Mr. Positive is a bit gutted at the moment because a certain general is probably proving himself to be the centre-back of the World Cup, showing on the world stage that, you know, you can have a 34-year-old from Benfica, you know, dominating the world at centre-back. And I think a certain Mr. Positive is facing up to the whole world seeing that he's wrong about the general.
Can I just say,
am I hearing some old beef? Is this some old beef before me meeting you guys?
Salute to the general. I salute you, sir. I salute you, sir.
And to be honest, I'm going to have a 12-foot high poster made of the general lifting the World Cup if they beat France on Saturday, and you know, sending it down to Tasmania.
Anyway, let's sort of move on then. So we'll start with you on this. Veta. After this, I'm going to swap this about a little bit. We're going to move to, I'm going to swap the Girona game for this while we have got the guests. Julian Alvarez. Me and Rich want to talk about this, and Rich did as well. Has been an absolute superstar in this World Cup, and I mean superstar. Oh, Rich is calling you after the stream. Stick your phone on silent. Mate, actually, if he's ringing you, it means he won't be ringing me. So yeah, ring away. Julian Alvarez, superstar. There you are.
I'm here.
And I'm gonna get called negative.
I'm ready.
I'm gonna get called negative by people in the comments, and I'm asking the question. Before anyone attacks me, I'm asking the question. Pep Guardiola gonna have a problem in about 3 weeks.
Is he? He already has the problem. I think.
Ooh, he already has it.
He already has it.
Ooh.
And the reason why I say that is because before the World Cup, Alvarez's talent wasn't on full display, but it was understood. Right? We all did our little homework when we realized that we were tied to him. We watched him play. We saw his last game before coming over to City, and the man sets a record with 2 hat tricks in one game. So we knew of his quality, but he also had an amazingly long season. So Pep had the excuse to, hey, let me get you acclimated, let me get you used to our system, and obviously didn't force him within the squad. Despite us seeing a poor form from Mahrez on that right-hand side. And in all fairness, Mahrez, I think, didn't come through in the best of fitness because he did have a surgery to remove, I think, some illness that I think he had at his head or at the back of his head. So there was that. And then there was the finding of form for Grealish and Foden early in the season. The reason why I say he already has a problem is because Alvarez's form on the biggest stage has been phenomenal. We're never going to dismiss the talent and quality that we have from Haaland. And prior to leaving, despite inconsistent starts, Foden was in amazing form. So I think those are the 3 players that honestly should have the freedom, should have the ability to actually knock on Pep's door and say, am I on the list? Am I starting? I think all those 3, rightfully so, should be expecting to start. Grealish should have to earn his way on. Mahrez should have to earn his way on. But those 3 have had amazing form. And I don't know this for a fact. I need to watch Alvarez more. But he should be central as well. He's clinical. He's hungry. He has a nose for the ball.
Say that again. He should be central.
Alvarez has an argument to be central in that attack.
Over Haaland?
At times, if Haaland is rested or if Haaland is off form, I think Alvarez can be a starter ahead of him. I think that's the problem that Pep has.
I'm not. Oh,
yeah,
no.
I don't think he needs to be central. For me,
watching him against Leicester, I think he bloody struggled in that position.
Again, we'll have players that have moments of struggle, right? But the reason why I want to mention that Alvarez has, I think he's earned it. Now he needs to earn it for City, but he's earned it with what he's shown playing for Argentina and at the World Cup. Is his nose for goal can't be ignored. He
doesn't have a world superstar to get. Well, he plays off the wing at Argentina, don't he? That's the thing.
Yes, and he's played off the right. He's played off the left, and I think mostly on that. I think we saw him mostly on the left within playing for Argentina. But I agree. I agree. But he was more central than Messi with regards to build up play and getting into that final third. I think it's an amazing problem to have. Don't get me wrong. I'm not going to say bench Haaland to put Alvarez, but I do want to see the 3 of them play. And I don't know if that fits with regards to what Pep wants. I don't know. Because playing on the wing, you're more of a facilitator. Go ahead.
Yeah, Pep doesn't really play out and out wingers. I mean, you look
This
at
is what I mean. I don't. I don't
one of the
care
best
about
one of the best goal scorers Spain and Barcelona who ever had, David Villa, didn't play central a lot of the time for Barcelona. He kind of played as one of three forwards to the side. So, Eto'o played a lot. One of the best goal scorers of the last 20 years, played many times for Barcelona, not playing right in the centre. So I think that, I think we need a player who can start 25 games that we don't start Haaland in, because I think Haaland's going to start, we're going to play the best part of 70 games. If you chuck an international, 75. So, we don't want Haaland playing many more than 50 or starting more than 50 games. So that
I think it depends, Rich.
But I also think,
I don't agree with that either.
I also think that, out wide, we've got Mahrez, who needs to get his form back, and we've got, Grealish and Foden on one side, and then potentially, Mahrez and Alvarez and Palmer on the other. I think, the biggest loser from Alvarez's form and Alvarez getting more game time might be Cole Palmer, because I think we might see playing Alvarez a lot more to one side of Haaland. And honestly, if I was picking a team tomorrow for City, I think I'd go Alvarez, Haaland, Foden. That's
my issue. I don't think it's Haaland's place, because believe it or not, I think Haaland's guaranteed starter nearly week in, week out.
Yeah.
Yes, until proven otherwise. I agree. I agree 100%.
What do you say proven otherwise, mate? Name me a better striker right now in world football.
No, that's what I mean. Right now, he's been in great form. He's been phenomenal. But I don't want him playing. If he's nicked up, I want Alvarez central. If there's too many consecutive games, yeah,
that's fair. But the issue with that is that as long as Haaland's not injured, he's going to start the Champions League and Premier League games.
Yeah,
and Alvarez might be happy starting FA Cup centre forward, but he's going to want to start Champions League and Premier League.
And that's the problem that Pep has. That's the problem.
Yeah, so he'll be playing alongside. I think he'll be playing in that kind of Barcelona 3, Foden, Alvarez, Haaland.
Can I just say, and I don't mean this in a negative. I don't mean it in a negative way. I really don't. Or to be taken the wrong way. But this was not the Alvarez we saw in the Premier League.
No, because Alvarez
or in the Carabao Cup.
Yeah, but
or
Alvarez,
in the Champions League.
But Martin, it's pretty simple. You watch the Argentina play, and the amount of pitch in front of them compared to the amount of pitch in front of City is a total.
This is my point, Rich.
And so Alvarez,
This is my point, though, Rich. Everyone's looking at Alvarez and think he's just going to be transformed from Argentina to the Premier League, and it ain't working like that. It won't work like that. Because when teams face City, they won't do what Argentina do.
We in the Champions League, we'll see it is closer to what we see. We don't see, apart from Atletico Madrid, we don't tend to see in the Champions League what we see in the Premier League. So I think in the Champions League, he will have a lot more pitch to run around. And I think the most interesting thing for me about Alvarez, and I think this has had a huge effect on Messi, is we've seen in the games almost Messi telling him where he needs him to run to pull players to create space. And Alvarez, he has the energy, the pressing, of Gabriel, that we had Gabriel Jesus had for us. But if anything, he can run a bit quicker and a bit further. And so I think, Alvarez is going to be pretty crucial in the Champions League in terms of that, creating space, defending from the front, moving players around, which I think we might see a bit more of, De Bruyne, and Gundogan, guiding him round and using him to create space.
No. So by the way, Alan's comment makes no sense because Messi plays in a Tin Pot League, Alan. But he's in a World Cup final. But Messi plays in a Tin Pot League, Alan. Alvarez came from a tin pot league, whether we like that or not, he did. Argentinian league, he's not sat there on top of the mountain of world football. It really isn't.
Well, there's a number of players shown at the World Cup, Martin, who've played in the Argentinian league until this season. You know, what good footballers they are. So, you know, whilst I think the league is clearly not tin pot at creating top young players, I think the problem is as soon as they're 20 years old, 21 years old, they're getting taken off to other countries. And so the league is being weakened because their best players move on. And the same with Brazil. You know, how many of the Brazil squad were actually playing in Brazil? Like, I don't think it was any.
I personally, I would throw Alvarez out on one of the front three. I wouldn't have him as, I'll tell you why Tomato's playing, I wouldn't have him as the middle guy. Because
you've got Haaland.
No, not only that, but if you go back to a lot of the games when Haaland didn't play and Alvarez was there, watch the way the players played.
Yeah.
They all played as though Haaland was still there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, with Alvarez, when Alvarez becomes the 9, it's a big adjustment to go from Haaland to Alvarez as a 9. And I don't think the players can adjust quick enough in games to get to there. Because if you look at Alvarez for Argentina, he doesn't play with his back to goal with balls played into his feet for him to turn. Back to goal up against big, strong defenders. When City do that, that's to Haaland. But to Alvarez, it is a ball over the top or down the sides or through ball for him to run to, yeah?
Yeah.
Haaland, not so much. Can do that, but not so much. He's the big, tall, strong guy who's going to knock a defender out of the way and go. Alvarez don't do that. So that's for me why I wouldn't have him as the straight.
But what Alvarez can do is he can do a lot of defensive work, which can win us the ball back up front, and he can also go left or right of Haaland. So playing with Haaland with players like Gundogan and De Bruyne, he's going to create space for Haaland. He's going to drag defenders all over the place, and honestly, having a player with that energy and that quality playing with Haaland can only strengthen the positions Haaland can take and can only give defenders nightmares because, you know, if you're sitting there thinking we're playing against, you know, you're 2 centre-backs and you've got the most feared striker in the world against you and he's strong, he's fast, he's an absolute beast. And then you've got this other young star who runs further than any player and is running left and right and pulling players around. That's a bloody nightmare. I mean, you know, how does a defence deal with that? Do they let the centre-backs just stick with Haaland and then you've got right-backs being pulled to left-back and left-backs being pulled to right-back, creating space? I mean, I think it's, you know, potentially when they get used to playing together and Pep has a chance to really work on it, I think it would be fantastic.
Yeah. But later.
Yeah.
Which one is the biggest to worry about here? Grealish, Mahrez, Cole Palmer?
I think the biggest one of my worry is Mahrez. And the reason why is because he's going to be we're going to need him. As this season continues, especially on that right-hand side, we're going to need him because if we want to consider Alvarez playing on that right wing at times, then that also means that there's going to be adjustments made when, again, if Haaland is asked to sit out or if Haaland is nicked up, then Alvarez is now central and we're relying on Cole Palmer and Mahrez on that right-hand side. That right-hand side is my biggest concern. I think we've got the coverage with Grealish and Foden on the left. But it's that right-hand side, and I hear your point. Just going back to what you guys were saying earlier, I hear the point with regards to preference. Yes, Foden, Haaland, Alvarez. I just also want to keep in mind that Haaland can't play every game. So if we're going to be relying on Alvarez on that right-hand side for the majority of the time, then when Haaland isn't playing, we would be relying on Alvarez to be playing central. That's a lot to be asked of, and that's why Mahrez is going to be key because he needs to find his form. We need coverage on that side.
I'm only looking at it, mate, in the 4 to 5 games because, Andrew's right. Alvarez has scored 7 goals. You've got to look in the context of the goals, though, and when in the game and who they were against. If you look at Haaland's had 2 months off, virtually, because he hadn't played, was it the 2 or 3 games beforehand?
Yeah, he had a game. I think he took it, yeah.
Alvarez was playing that 9, and he struggled. We were on here, mate, talking about it.
I know, but also when he did play, it was a lot of changes that Pep did in terms of a full 11 as well, because we were no longer concerned with the Champions League, so he didn't pull out a full squad. And Alvarez hasn't played. I just want to point out, Haaland has had the best 11. We can argue that Alvarez hasn't been surrounded with the best 11. So that's why I'm not as
Haaland's the second best player in the world, mate.
No, I understand, but I'm talking about when you're looking at comparison or how Alvarez hasn't shown the best of form, he doesn't have the same surrounding 10 with regards to the judgment that we're placing, comparing him with performance-wise.
This is the point, isn't it? He's back up, really. Sounds awful to say that.
But this is the problem, and this is the problem that Pep has, because I don't think you can't look at Alvarez as a backup. The talent.
I think Pep does.
That's the challenge. That's a great challenge that we have as a club. Absolutely, it's a great challenge that we have as a club.
I agree. I totally agree with you. And you know what? This is the point. As fans, we're saying, he should be playing. The problem is he has played backup as a backup player. So
two things. One, there's every chance in 2 weeks' time. Alvarez has pulled a hamstring and Haaland's done his calf, and we're sitting here wondering, have we got enough players to get through?
I'm knocking on wood.
That's what happened. Well, centre back so far this season, we've been worried we're down to 1 centre back, and we're going to be in.
I know we've got 5.
And at the same time, we've then been worried about we've got 5. Maybe we'll sign 6, and we've got too many. So football throws things at us that change stuff.
Yeah.
And that. And 2, we are going to be playing every 3 days from January.
People keep saying this to me, Rich. Neymar, they don't all play it 1 in every 3 games. They play week in, week out. Salah plays week in, week out. Honestly, this is what I'm not trying to argue. What I'm trying to say, where's this thing of the rest every 2 or 3 games? Where's this from?
Right. Firstly,
I think the striker does it.
No. Let's be quite clear. In the last few years, the reason we haven't won the Champions League is we have got to the end of that crucial part. We've got to the crucial part of the season, and we've had injuries because players have been overplayed and not rested, or we've had players lose form because they've been overplayed. Not necessarily up front, but have.
That was a joke, Yusuf. That was a joke, mate. It wasn't really going playing for Ashton United.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So we have that problem, and I think we need to get better at managing that. And so I think we are going to have to rest players. I don't think there's any way we're going to play Haaland every 3 days for the end of the season, and he's not going to be, get a chronic injury. I don't think there's any way Mahrez can play every 3 days. I think Foden's probably the closest we've got up front to doing that. Alvarez is going to have a rest in the World Cup. So I think there's a lot of. I think the only person I'm worried about is Cole Palmer, because I do think that we're going to see Alvarez and Alvarez playing on the right a fair bit, and probably swapping with Mahrez. I think Grealish and Foden probably swapping on the left. And, Alvarez coming in, or maybe Foden coming in as a false 9 when Haaland's rested.
Yeah.
But I think, and I think there's plenty of football for all of those. But I do worry, where does Palmer get, and maybe it's we get, Haaland scores 4 goals and Palmer comes on for the last 35 minutes every game. I don't know.
Yeah, that'll kill his career. It's no good for it. I mean, listen, I get what you and Rich are saying, mate. I get it. The point I'm saying, if you look at the second half of the season, Pep doesn't tend to change a lot of the 11.
Mm-hmm.
If you look, unless he has to do, if you look from February, March onwards, it's generally the best 11 goes out week in, week out. And we were playing every 3 days then.
Right.
May I add. So why all of a sudden, this is my argument, we're suddenly now saying, well, Haaland were kind of going to be dipping in and out to bring out. If Alvarez wasn't here, we wouldn't be having this conversation. The point I'm trying to make is, why is Pep going to change what he's done for 5 years?
Okay. This is where I want to ask the question. And if we look back the last 2 seasons, and maybe I'm answering this while I'm asking the question, but Pep's always showed rotation by all positions.
Not towards the back end. Honestly, for the last few months last year, if you go from March onwards, right, generally not big change in team. This is why a lot of players all wanted out the door last year in the summer, because they just weren't getting used.
Except, ironically, Jesus probably got more games at the end of the season than...
Yeah, no, he probably did. Jesus is probably the only one. But if you notice, Sterling suddenly stopped. And Zinchenko, everyone went to it goes to laser focus, doesn't it? And he goes, bang, go.
Yes. So
the time of rotating stops at that point.
Then aren't we already showing the difficulty that we're going to have if the rotation does stop in the business end of the season? Who's going to be let out when rotation stops?
I don't. This is the problem. This is
I know.
Cal said weeks ago, mate. We're going to have a massive problem.
Yeah.
Because I think I even. Do you know what? Maybe in a way, and we're going to move on very quickly in a minute for the last 5 minutes. I think Pep's thought a bit like me and thought, you know what, Alvarez is going to need a year to 18 months to settle in. I can sort of keep him on a back burner for a year.
Yeah.
And I think he's now gone. Shit, what do I do now? Mahrez has signed a brand new contract. By the way, we'll have got a bump on that contract because everyone gets a bump on new contracts generally. Grealish is 100 million on 300 grand a week and has got a Gucci deal behind him. You've got a bit of a problem here, Pep.
Yeah, the agent. The agent.
Right, as Rich says, Cole Palmer sat there going, "Boss, you promised me I can come in this year."
Yeah.
That's
fantastic problem.
That's who I'm worried about actually more than anyone in this is Palmer. I think Alvarez and Fade and Haaland, they're all going to get the game time they want. I do think though that it's not good for Palmer.
Do you know what? Blew out spot on. We'll end it on this. Pep, no one's going to argue with him because he's Pep Guardiola. So screw it. Are we going to argue with the guy?
True.
Right. Last 5 minutes. City are back. Girona. Saturday, 1 p.m. at the Academy Stadium. The Mancunian way will be there live with me. Live in the Academy Stadium. We're looking forward to this, boys. Are we expecting some big boys out, or is it a team of kids?
I honestly don't know what's happening with the World Cup players. I don't know how long we're giving them.
Kevin's back training.
Who is?
De Bruyne's back.
That makes, yeah.
I think a lot of them are back.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, if we had all the players back, this is the sort of game I'd like to see Phillips getting some game time in and a few of the players who haven't played. But, start to get them into the team. I want to see the players who Walker, Phillips, etc., back in the team. But, I think it will all, whether De Bruyne plays will be down to De Bruyne. He'll be choosing whether he thinks he needs game time to sharpen him up for the 25th, the 26th. Same with Gundogan, same with Rodri. Those players will get
22nd.
Yeah, but I'm saying that who knows what? I've got no idea whether we'll go strong or completely weak in the Carabao Cup. I've got no idea how seriously we're taking that. So I think a lot. I do genuinely think a lot will be the players. Whether they think they're going to be best served for the games to come with some game time, whether they think they need rest, what the medical teams say. And I honestly think from that, Pep will then put together, the side he thinks is best on that. But I think it's going to be a side picked by, the players and the doctors, which players are going to play, and not really thinking too seriously about, the games to come.
Well,
yeah, I was gonna say, because unfortunately I got to jump, but I'm excited just to see who does play. Like, I want to see the club at it again. So,
it's going to be great, isn't it?
It is, and I'm going to be tuned into your content because I'm going to love that perspective. The joy of City coming back to play is going to be fantastic. I know a lot of those players are obviously disappointed with how they exited the World Cup, but the mission isn't over. So, just seeing them kick the ball again, seeing them gel as a squad is going to be what I'm most excited for. Who knows who's going to start and not start, but every time I see the young players, or not the main starters, play, I enjoy it because I get to see. I see the potential. I see the prospects that they are to be first teamers down the road.
Yeah. And the player of the kids, I think, so it's probably two players who I think, I want to see a bit more of, and everything else. One's Gomez. I think, showed a lot going forward that's good, but probably, needs to get a bit more solid defensively. So it'd be good to see him settling into City more. And Rico Lewis, I think, again, another player who his trajectory the last 2 seasons has been quite incredible. So he's someone who looks, to have real potential. So, seeing them, and of course, Cole Palmer getting more game time, they're what I'd like to see above everything.
Before he goes like Blue House says, for his at Sheffield Wednesday out, all United on loan next season.
Well, let's see. And and then I do want to see Calvin. I do want to see us having an option in centre midfield for certain games, and wants to not overplay Rodri and to have a different option there.
Yeah, mate. Take care, mate. You go and get over to Beta Games TV and go and show him a lot of love. Thank you very much, Vader. Take care, mate, and we'll see you on the next one. Go and show Beta Games TV a lot of love. This is a top bloke. We're gonna I know you've got to shoot in a minute, Rich. I mean, the thing is, I think Mahrez plays, Haaland plays, probably Ortega plays, Rico Lewis will play. I do expect Kevin De Bruyne at some point, just to get that World Cup blues knocked out.
Yeah, he's normally someone who needs a bit of, he needs some game time, so that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely. Absolutely, definitely. And I just can't wait. We will do a post-match. I don't know who's going to be on it. There'll be a post-match on Sunday for the Girona game. So if you haven't got City TV, fear not, because I will go through what happened on Sunday with you all. Time to be confirmed. We will go through that. And then on Monday, Rich, or Tuesday, we will do a preview for Liverpool. The countdown is on for Thursday then. There will be no Thursday night chat next week. Do you fancy doing a post-match Liverpool next week, Rich?
if it works out and it's if I can.
Did you ever think you'd say that on a Thursday night? You fancy a Liverpool post match on the 22nd?
Well, Thursday night for me is Manchester United, isn't it?
Oh, it's madness.
It's United Thursday night, so it's going to give me Europa League palpitations.
I know.
We play Tuesday and Wednesday.
City are back officially in first team action at the Etihad a week tonight. This time next week, we'll be doing the Liverpool post match. That's madness. But yeah, big thank you to everyone. I mean, I just can't wait. I will post up.
Right,
Rich, you're shooting. Take care. I'll wrap it up, mate.
Yeah.
You shoot.
Right.
Thank you. I'm just going to let Rich go and then I will wrap it up. So there you go. There's Thursday night. If you want me to stay on and we'll do some Q&A for 10 minutes, I don't mind. It's up to you, lovely people. If you want to stay on and do a Q&A for 10 minutes, as we promised, we can do. If you don't want to just see me, I'll go. You're bored of my ugly bored of my ugly mug. But yeah, just to recap, tonight we've gone through the Erling Haaland transfer news about Real Madrid. We've gone through Gavardio, or whatever his name is, the centre-back for Croatia, who's left-footed. We've also talked about the Julian Alvarez conundrum, which was a great chat between me, Rich, and Beta. And really, there's a major, not problem, but not major. There's a little problem Pep's got. He's got some big decisions to make. Because as we once get told of Spencer Pride, if anyone was watching us this time last year, Spencer Pride did say live on this channel, players want to play every week. They don't ever want to be dropped. Otherwise, you end up in the Jesus Sterling Zinchenko situation, sadly. And then we've talked a little bit about Girona as well, who are currently, I think, are they 13th in their league, or 10th? I know they've currently got the top goal scorer in the second division of Spain. And they've also got a former Blue in their 11. Anyone know who that is? There's a Q&A for you. Who is the former City player who now plays for Girona? Anyone know? I'm going to give you 30 seconds. Go. Anyone know him? Let's see who knows him. Nope, it's not Lee. It's not Nolito. Ten more seconds, even though you are on like playback. You're on delay at the moment, aren't you? I'll give you his first name, Alex. Oh, Jack Lee, straight in there. Alex Garcia, yes. Former Manchester City player, does currently play for Girona. Well, is he academy? No. He was. He played for the first team under Pellegrini. Did he play at the Chelsea away defeat against in the FA Cup when we got mullered? Does anyone remember that one where we got mullered at Stamford Bridge when Pep went Pellegrini went out with the kids and we got mullered? He played in that game, I'm sure he did. It is definitely, it's a very nice headache. It is for us, won't be for Pep though, Neil. That's the problem, mate. Right, Q&A. Okay then. So Addy Mills is straight in. Is Laporte going to Barcelona? Only if they manage to get another lever pulled. If they manage to get another lever pulled, then possibly. My only issue with the Laporte issue is for Manchester City to sell him, you are looking at probably 60, 70, 80 million. Have Barcelona got that? If you look at all our centre-backs, we have Akanji, Stones, I'm just had a total brain fart. Akanji, Stones, Diaz, Laporte, and Ake. The cheapest one out of all of them is Akanji. Now, I'm not saying I want this to happen, But probably the cheapest one out of all of them will probably be a Kanji to get out of there. I think if Barcelona anyone offered 50 million, just on a business sense, I think they'd sell a Kanji. Very much like, do you remember a player called Vedran Čorluka? We used to call him Charlie, Croatian player, who we bought very cheap and we sold them. Made a profit, went to Tottenham. Same thing with Jerome Boateng as well. Didn't fit in at City, didn't like it. So Kanji, we bought him for 70 million. If Barcelona for 50, would we sell? Don't know, possibly. That's probably going to be your cheapest option out at City. Because Laporte's only got 2 years left, I think. Jack Lee, it matters not a jot. Vedran Čorluka, Jerome Boateng left after 12 months. Alvaro Negredo was scoring goals for fun, disappeared after 1 year. Nolito, 1 year gone. Doesn't matter if they're only here for 1 year, mate. It's business sometimes. Ake, only to an English club. I don't think anyone abroad will buy Ake. I think Ake suits. No, I'm not saying I want Akanji to go. I'm just saying from a business sense, a foreign team is probably Akanji is probably the cheapest option for them. Because I don't think Akanji would be about 70 or 80 million, where I think Laporte, Stones and Diaz will be about 70, 80 million, more even to get out the door. I think for Akanji, because he was only bought for cheap, they could make a 30, 40 million pound profit on him. I think they'd sell him. Sorry, Martin Laporte is going, he has no pace. Who's going to buy him, Alan? Again, who's got 80 million, 70, 80 million to buy? Next question. If Barcelona were only to book one of Laporte or Bernardo, which one would you let go? Laporte. Go back to Tuesday's stream. I ain't letting Bernardo out that door for now. Go to Bernardo. Saying that, Laporte has been phenomenal. Laporte, Rodri, Kanji, Bernardo, Alvarez, they've all been phenomenal world superstars. Foden, when he got in, they've all been great performances. But out the two of them, Neil, Laporte. Because you can buy another centre-back. You can't buy another Bernardo. No way. Bernardo offers too much. I'm Luke, one of the influx. Yes, he was. Kanji's a regular now, yeah, but Negredo was when he was scoring all them goals. Remember the Carabao Cup semi-final? Was it the Worthington Cup then? Where he scored an hat-trick. And then he was still let go. Don't think Diaz should be starting games. He needs to get his head right and have a rest. Laporte, easy, keep Bernardo, exactly. Real Madrid. Do Real Madrid really need another centre-back? I don't think someone from Atletico, where was he from? Athletic Bilbao. I don't think they go to Real Madrid, mate. Don't think they do. Not like he before Fiesta and Audi R8. Who would you sign and who would you sell in the summer? Who would I sign? Jude Bellingham, Rafael Leao, and Robinson from Fulham at left back. Because he'd suit your own grown, the American kid. Superstar. And Jude Bellingham, centre mid. Enzo Fernandez, centre mid. And Rafael Leao. There you go. I'd sign for. Who would I let go? Gundogan. Been great servant. Mahrez, sorry, that will probably get me 1,000 dislikes now. But Mahrez deserves first team football. That's it, probably. 4 in, 2 out. Stones homegrown, so safe. Yeah. Listen, I don't think Stones is the best ball player centre back we have. We lost exactly. Do you know what? Alec is spot on with that. listen, we've lost Aguero, Yaya, Company, David Silva. You know, we've lost so many greats. Company. We went and lost loads of players. I remember it when Gail Kincladze left and the world was coming down. When Sean Goater left, the world was coming down. And Elka left, the world was coming down. It doesn't it just, you move on. You move on and adapt. And the thing is, for Pep to sign, you got to remember, for Pep to sign that new contract, he will have been promised money. And that was the one thing that came out from The Athletic. That I did read the piece on here back on one of the streams we did on the night we did the Pep Guardiola extension video. He's been promised massive transfers. My question is back to everyone else. Have City decided to change transfer strategies now? Are the days of 40, 50, 60 million pound signings on the cheap? Have they now thought, you know what? Everyone keeps telling us that we've signed, that we spend all this money. Bollocks. We're going to spend all this money. Are we now going to go down the 80, 90, 100, 120 million pound road for a player? I'm going to give you a little bit of facts in a minute. I've got an image and I was trying to get on here, but I couldn't manage to do it. Mahrez is on the brink. He is. And my only thing, Blue, is that 3-year contract. I'm not sure that was signed to get money for him. Unless he gets his finger out. Amazing, though. Best first touch in the club, though. Doesn't feel the same without Silva and Aguero. I love that Mancini squad. It was, but the trouble is, Mancini decided to totally just go off the rails, sadly. He lost the plot. They were special, they were, but Mancini just, I don't know, he imploded, sadly. Howard Belly, sell or recall? Recall 1,000%. No, well, recall because I love him. Oh, I went and watched his debut against Preston in the Cup. Outstanding. England under 21 captain. Outstanding for Burnley. I just love him. The trouble is, he's out of our academy and we're now not that club. We're not going to, like we said earlier, talked about Alvarez and Rich made a great point. What about Cole Palmer? This is the end for Cole Palmer. If Alvarez can't even get in the team, where's Cole Palmer going? This is the problem. I just don't know. And then you got the other people, the young kid, beginning with B. What's he called? Emile Bourgeois or something? Bourgeois. Where's he going to go? You can't keep having wingers. Can we all take a moment for Ilano? Quality player. Just employed and fired crowd a day Mancini was sacked. He did, but it wasn't Mancini imploded as well, Jack. Mancini imploded. When you've got a manager telling you to F off and wanting to give you a slap round the back of the head. Who would you like to pick, replace Southgate? And you got to remember, Jack, if Mancini hadn't gone, David Silva was going, Joe Hart was going, they were all ready to walk. Just lost the top flight guys. He did. They were all ready to mutiny and out the door, weren't they? Bourgeois, there it is. Thank you, fellas. I will go with Pochettino. Have I missed a question? Oh, who would I go to replace Southgate? I don't think you do replace him. No, there's a reason why. The FA said if after Capello they were never going to go down the foreign road again. They wanted to go homegrown. Who's homegrown at the moment? Out of a job. Graham Potter. I know he's not English, but homegrown, but it's all UK. No, he's not going to leave Chelsea. Eddie Howe, he's not going to leave Newcastle. Sean Dyche, no chance. Do you know Big Sam? No, Big Sam got kicked out. Big Sam wouldn't beat to the drum of the FA, so no way, Big Sam. Sean Dyche, you're all moaning about Southgate football, but then want to bring in Sean Dyche. You talk about one step forward, 18 back. No offense, Sean, but Potter after, I don't think Potter would take it. Hello, Zahabe. How are you, mate? I hope you are good. Thank you for joining us. Scott Parker, no chance. Alan Parger. Do you see what I mean? This is the problem. We're not blessed in this country with amazing top English managers. If they took this cap off, Luis Enrique is available. If they are willing to take off this non-homegrown stuff, Luis Enrique is available. Luis Enrique signs a 2.5-year deal with England. Pep signs a 2 or 3 year deal with Seta, and then they swap jobs in 3 years' time. Just an idea. Really hope. I hope Sean Dyche is a PE teacher. I really hope blew out that he does make the grade, because I love Cole Palmer. My problem with Cole Palmer is we're arguing about Alvarez not getting in the squad, and he could be a World Cup winner in 4 days, 3 days. And then you got to argue about Grealish not getting in the team, or Bernardo not getting on the wing, or Mahrez not getting in the team. And then you got Cole Palmer, but you got the young kid coming through, but I don't know. And then everyone got a big squad, I know, but you can't keep rotating everyone. People don't rotate. I said this with Rich earlier. Mo Salah doesn't only play 35 games and then stops, has a rest for the other 35. Doesn't happen. Sean Dyche, Alan Kirbishley, wash your mouth out, Yusuf. Same we can't get Howe. Why would he leave? No chance he's going to leave. Patrick Vieira have been amazing. Jack Lee, come on, mate, don't be silly. Vinny Company, I think is he city bound, Ray? Is he city bound? Don't be silly, Yusuf. Don't be silly. Yeah, again, 18 steps back. He wasn't the saviour of that bloody Villa. He couldn't do a job at Villa. You want to come and do a job at England? Jesus. My choice, Enrique, perfect. Tell you what, let's get Stevie G and Lampard to do a double duet. Oh, my word. Potter is a good show. Just Jesus. But that's for me anyway. I'd do the Enrique Pep swap places in 2 years. It's 3 years. Potter is the most realistic option, only if he gets sacked by Chelsea, because he ain't going to take that job as a. Let me just get rid of these idiots. Thank you. See ya. If I want sex, call this number. Oh, thanks. What about the great fat Frank and Uncle Harry? Whoa. Do you think Redknapp would take another job? I don't know if he would. You know. Put my CV in. No, my footballing coaching days are over, mate. I went out on a high winning trophies. Good shout. What's a good shout? I'm behind in comments. To apologise, Ray. Southgate couldn't do a job at Middlesbrough, couldn't do a job at England. Well, that's what I mean. You failed. You get a job at England. England managers don't hire winners. They don't hire winners. Come on. Look at the track record. Keegan didn't get the job when he was like amazingly doing great. He was at Fulham as a managing director or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Capello was on the back end of his career. Big Sam. You know what I mean? They don't go out and get the top-notch people. Yeah, I'm kind of with you on that, Sean. I'd like to see Vinny at like Palace or an Everton or somewhere like Everton. There's a good shout for a manager. But he's playing some brilliant football at Turf Moor. Micah Richards, what, with Roy Keane as his assistant? Jesus, that'd be funny. I'd watch England week in, week out just to watch them two in the dressing room. Can't see Vinny in charge of City, although many would love it, including Binner. Could see him as a coach one day. Like Zabba is now. Company needs more time. He does, definitely. What junior team did you manage, Martin? A team called Phoenix Athletic. I'm in the Tameside Sunday League. Well, Rochdale League, Tameside Sunday under 16, 17, 18, 19. And then I packed it in because after under 19s, no, wasn't going to open age. We'll attack and coach. Well, they won't, will they? Steve McLaren, the Wally under the... Exactly. It's what I mean. England have never been blessed with world superstar managers. Look at the late great Don River. He left England job in shame and everything else. Does anyone ever leave the England job happy? Jesus, it's like, and you know, I'm having a lovely time. Well, how do you want to ruin it? Go and manage England. Thanks. Cheers. Leave it under a cloud. Everyone leaves under. You always get that. They leave under a cloud. Kevin Keegan left being spat at and told to F off. Ericsson, we all know what he did. You know, Wally with the brawler, getting pissed on in the rain, getting hammered by Croatia. You're like, geez. Like, no one in England ever leaves happy. Pellegrini would be happy, would be great for England. Love Pellegrini. Everyone goes mad when you tell him he won more trophies than Mancunian, and everyone goes crazy at you for that. Phoenix Knights, Max and Padder. Can you hear me now? Here you can see you bastard. England should go foreigners, no England manager. I love that. Can you hear me now? Here you can see you. Can see you, dickhead. Outside the chipper, funny. I'm on a bus. Sorry, company's done a good job at, yeah, he has. Anyway, right. Any more questions? I'm going to wrap it up there because there don't seem to be any more coming through. Right, big thank you to everyone who has joined us tonight. You are all superstars, every single one of you. Rich and Vader as well. Go and give Vader Games TV a lot of love. Go and hit that subscribe button. The Mancunian way has actually done really well over the last few days when we haven't actually been posting much. We've actually jumped all the way to nearly 900 subscribers, which is amazing. We ended up with nearly 10 new subscribers in one day just today. So that's amazing. We are literally just over 100 to that 1,000 mark. And when we hit that 1,000 mark, that's when this channel really gets lift off. Trust me. Because then we can go live via the old mobile, and I'm not stuck in front of this laptop all the time. I can go live at the stadium. Oh, yes. Want a bit of that. So, yes, I'm not even, and people think you want 1,000 to be monetized and get money. Don't give a damn about the money. I ain't doing this for money. This costs me money. We do this for the love of it. And because I just love talking Manchester City with all my fellow Blues, you know. And to go live from the Etihad would be amazing. I love going live from the Etihad, especially on match days. Screw the YouTube shorts. I'll go YouTube live from the Etihad and give you a live team news. Anyway, big thank you. If you have not hit that like button, and we've only got 20 odd likes, so there's over 20 people not smashed that like button, please give it a big thumbs up on your way out. That would be amazing. If you have not subscribed, please tell your friends, your family, your next door neighbours, your dog, your cat, your lizard, your snake. Tell everyone. I don't care if you tell your prison officer. Get out there and tell everyone. I'm joking. That was like someone's watching me from their cell in prisoner cell block H. It was a joke. Alan's watching. Tell your koala bear next door. Say hello. Knock, knock. Hit that subscribe button. Anyway, thank you all to all of you. Jack, Dudley, Alex, Sean, Alec Johnson, Blue Art, Ray Fernley, not seen in so long. Great to see you back on here, mate. Even Alan, who's been Otamendi hater. Zahaib, Yusuf, our resident Liverpool fan, who we all love. Wind him up, we all love. Super City's been on. Harry Mills has been on. FIFA was on earlier on. It has been a pleasure and an honour to be talking to every single one of you this evening. It really, really has. Who else has been on? Neil Handstock's been on. I want to make sure I say thank you to every single one of you. Marwin Billy was on earlier on as well. Stephen Bennett has been on. Harry Mills, like we said, there's loads been on tonight. Andrew W. Have I missed anyone out? Make sure I've not missed anyone. Make sure I've not missed. I need to get everybody in. McLoving's been on. Been a pleasure to speak to you, Rich. Well, Rich is Rich. Why is Rich in the comments? Naughty Rich, if you're watching. Naughty Rich. Davey Mack was on earlier. Big thank you as well to you. Alex was on earlier on as well. Pardo Oaks was on. Super City's been on. Christian was on earlier on. Thank you to every single one of you. You are all absolute legends, saints. And we'll be back now Sunday. Keep an eye on at Failsworth Real Martin. I'm in Failsworth. Failsworth. Gotta love a bit of Failsworth. Get down Failsworth, Paul. Have a pint. Get in the Crown and Cush. Anyone who's in Failsworth know about the Crown and Cush. I used to go on the wagon and horses until that shut down. Tell you, mate, City to join. Good show. Thank you. Thank you all. Ray, take care, mate. Good night and sleep well, buddy. Thank you, Alec Johnson. Thank you, Sean. You are all superstars. It's every City fan show. It is. Just dig out the megaphone. My gob's big enough. Ask my missus. Smash the like button. Yeah, or you're a turnip. You're a turnip. You mean old man? Why am I mean? You mean what? I don't live in Oldham. You see, this is what I mean. Where's he got this? You've not got a clue. Don't even live in Oldham. No work Sunday, perfect. Yes, I'll be back around about 8 or 9 o'clock, roughly. If Rich is on with maybe a bit later, but I'll be back with the post-match to Manchester City Girona Sunday. And then Monday or Tuesday, likely to be Tuesday, we'll do a preview to Manchester City versus Liverpool Carabao Cup game. And then Thursday, no Thursday night chat. No. But there will be a live post-match at Manchester City, Liverpool. Win, lose or draw, we will be on it. Don't you worry. Take care. Have a lovely evening. And we'll see you all Sunday evening for the City Girona post-match. Take care. And yeah, come on, City. City are back. Let's go. Take care, all.